a problem make a really huge difference. You get overwhelming. You really are frustrated for all the options that you already have. How we can search in a good way, how we cannot waste our time. I do this sourcing for more than 10 years, and I spend more than 1 week or 2 weeks for analyze one company. For Axio, it's just a matter of minutes.
When it comes to sourcing, identifying the right suppliers and products can be time consuming. In this episode, we will explore how to refine your prompts like a pro and accelerate your path to the most suitable options. Welcome to the Accio Playbook. I'm your host, Ziwei Chen, and joining me today is Felipe Hernández. Felipe is the founder and CEO of Kuaizi Group, where he has been supporting more than 6,000 small business owners in developing smarter sourcing strategies. Hi, Felipe. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Ziwei. It's a pleasure to me to being here, and it's a really good opportunity for everyone to really know how to write in a good way, how to source in a good way. I think that it's many people is just getting started, and it's a really common having mistakes. So we are here for clarify everything, and I hope that you guys enjoy.
Yeah, well, I am super excited. So our title for this episode is Prompt Like a Pro, Source with Precision. I know that for you, you have been using lots of AI tools. You serve your clients and helping them with sourcing. So maybe to start with this conversation, I would love to hear from you. Why do you think maybe prompts are important, or why a good prompt is important?
Yeah, for being honest, a prompt make a really huge difference from what you can get, the output that you can get. And it's really tricky when you don't have like the good words to describe the product. Like when you are making a sourcing, it's a really key aspect for how you are actually asking the AI or asking yourself or even asking your suppliers the right questions, and the right answers is the one that you need. So exactly what we are just looking for is to have the best possible factory that we can work with. So the main idea is to have a good prompt, but the good prompt starts with right answers and right questions. So you need to ask and ask them well. So that's why and that's the first place where we are taking when we are talking about sourcing. When we are talking about prompts, mostly for AI platforms, we need to focus in how we are going to text, how we are going to type those like questions that we are going to ask. As well, the results that are not good or bad results when we are talking with AI, we just have having results right in a good way. So basically, what we need to focus is how we are going to like response into those questions in a certain way that we can just get the best results possible. And that's where you need to have knowledge about the product. You need to have knowledge about what you are doing and what you are going to search. Like there are any kind of platforms that you can use. You can go to Google and go to search by yourself. I have like a really quick like example that we have one customer. I specialize in America. America is my main market, and in that market I have customers from all over America, from Canada to Argentina. So basically what we focus is to help them to search the best factories possible for them. That's the name of our company is Kuaizi, and Kuaizi means chopsticks, and those chopsticks are for choosing the best factories possible. So we focus over 10 years to finding the best solutions, the best factory for the customers in the other part of the world, right? In the other side. So what we do with those customers, I have one of those customers that they focus in tourist souvenirs for Mexico. All the Mexican items for souvenirs, they really need it, and they buy a lot because they are a distributor there. And what we need for that, we need to search for good factories. But what is the main thing when you are going to look for, when you are going to do the sourcing part? You go, and the easiest part is go to Google and just Google it, right? So you Google tourist souvenirs for factories for Mexican souvenirs or for Mexican items, but you get overwhelming. You really are frustrated for all the options that you already have. And believe me, I pass through that every day. It's my daily stuff where I need to deal with. So what we are just looking for is to have everything more clear, how we can search in a good way, how we cannot waste our time, because the sourcing part takes a lot. Even maybe you want to hire someone, it will be really hard to find a really good sourcing agency or third party that can help you out. They will charge you 70, 80, 100, 150 US dollars for make a simple source for you. I have passed through that also, and we know how is it going. So maybe you can do it by yourself, but do it in a good way. So if you write a good prompt, if you know the words, if you know the material, if you know the product, that's what we are going to talk about during all this video. So it's gonna be really good for you for understand how to source in a good way. So I know I have passed for that. Believe me, I know that you are tired of using Google, you are tired of using another platforms for your sourcing. You are tired of paying highly fees for a simple sourcing or just source one, two products and even not be in a good way, because many of the products or many of the factories that you're receiving, you don't know if it's a trading company, you don't know if it's a manufacturer, you don't know anything about the factory. So this is what we are going to talk about more deeply. And for sure, this video will help you out to find the good answers, what you really need.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So what I'm hearing is that if for most people they just go on Google with a very simple, very vague or general term, and the risk for that is they might get overwhelmed because there's all those information out there that are not filtered. So the risk would be that you are not going to get what really meets your need because of a vague or too general of a prompt. And then so maybe my next question is that it sounds like there are lots of areas that we should look for when we are sourcing to help us get faster to the right options or the qualified options. So, what would you say are some of the top areas or criterias that you would recommend us to look into to help us further narrow down our search and then maybe make this experience more tailored to each of our needs?
Sure. Basically, you need to focus first in which product do you need. So, for being honest, mostly about the factory and everything that we need to focus more is what kind of product, like the material. Do you know the material? Do you know the size? Do you know where you are going to sell this product? It's in Amazon, it's in eBay. You have your own store. Like, where? It's important to have those questions. Those are internal questions that we need to ask ourselves. Which is the MOQ that we really need? We need 100 pieces. We can afford 1,000 pieces. We like actually, which is our budget? Do you know your budget? Do you know how much you are going to spend into like this investment that you are going to do? So when you understand your product, when you understand what do you need, you can go forward and you can go and move on that what you really want exactly. And then you can go and move on. When you are clear about the product, when you are clear about the material, about all the specifications, the details about the product, if it needs any certificate, for example, do you want an ISO 9001 that is a certificate of quality? You are selling in the I don't know, in Europe market, you need that CE. So basically, what you really want to sell, and from that part we move to the supplier part. So the supplier part is basically okay. I'm searching. I'm doing a sourcing part in Alibaba. So in Alibaba, which are the key aspects in Alibaba that I really need to have in mind? So at least 5 years in the platform, at least a certificate, as I mentioned before, ISO, CE, good website, website from Alibaba, the time response, really important. The transactions are also important, really important for you check. Usually in Alibaba, they call it SOPI, that it's SOPI for us, Supplier Online Performance Index. So you need to have all of those aspects in mind for transactions, for time response, for sharing how much time like it's taking for taking you into consideration. All of that aspects is really uh, precious, and it's really important when you're having all the conversation and all the sourcing part, as well as the cluster, which area it's mainly focused in that product itself. So those are the key aspects, the recommendations that we need to find for good products and for search good suppliers. And from those key aspects, we will move into the prompt.
I see. I love that. There are just so many things that through your experience that you have learned that can be helpful. Because what's our goal? Our seller's goal would be to eventually found the right supplier with the right products, right? And they have lots of requirements. I especially love how you mentioned there's almost three buckets or three types of requirements. One is about the product, right? You mentioned about material, you mentioned about the size, the dimension. One is about your business. So what's your budget? What's your MOQ? And anything else. And the last one is about the suppliers. So based on their experience level and all of these. So I think all of these are critical areas that we would recommend our listeners to focus on to enrich their prompt, right? As you mentioned in the very beginning, clearer the prompt is, the more requirements that you clearly list out, the more likely you are going to get the right result. And then the next question maybe many of our listeners might have is that there are so many requirements, right? If I have to do this one by one and there's thousands of opportunities or options out there, then it's going to take forever, right? So that actually led to our internal team's inspiration on creating Axio, which is the world's first AI-powered sourcing agent, meaning that we can use Axio to automate this entire process for you, where you tell Axio your requirements, and Axio does the analysis for you and identify the top recommended options based on your needs. So I know that Felipe, you have been exploring Axio for various different cases, and I would love to see if you can share us maybe an example of maybe how you can use Axio to streamline this process and get to that level of clarity.
Sure. I think Axio, it's a game changer in all aspects for all of us that we make like the source part. And I think that you are doing the sourcing and you really want to focus in find good factories in a good time. Axio, it's the best option possible that you can get. So let's keep in. Let me share my screen. Thank you. And then do you remember, guys, that I told you about the souvenirs, the tourist souvenirs that we were getting, and that I had like some sort that I need to do for my Mexican customer? So this will be the same. Actually, I made these sorts in Axio a couple of days ago, and basically this is the input. So first, which is the product that you are looking for? You can copy and paste this prompt. It will be awesome if you can do it. And of course, I share your results with us. It will be also really helpful for all of us. Okay, so for example, search for tourist souvenirs suppliers in China. The criteria: verified supplier. One thing, verified. They need to be verified, unless you will get any kind of supplier. Second aspect, manufacturer only. So we focus in only manufacturers. Remember that there are many kind of companies in China. So we have manufacturers and we also have trading companies. And there are other that there are multi-specialty suppliers. It's a mix between all of them. So better if you only focus in manufacturer. There is a really gap here that I want to clarify with you. Depends on your budget. Do you remember that I mentioned that? Okay, what is your budget? You cannot get a good manufacturer with a low budget. It doesn't have sense, right? If you are just starting, like my main suggestion for you, it will be you can also try not with manufacturers, but with trading companies, but with good trading companies that helps you out to get a low MOQ, but a good price as well. Okay, so that I really like to have like manufacturers only. So I have manufacturers 5+ years on Alibaba. It's a really like key for everyone that is starting. More than 5 years, it means that passed through all the pandemic. And if it passed all the pandemic situation, it means that it's a stable company, right? It didn't broke, it didn't have any issues. So that's why 5 years, 5+ years. Next, focus on factories that produce key souvenirs such as magnets, keychains, mugs, t-shirts, and miniature landmarks. Displays these suppliers with clear products with photos, MOQ, and trade assurance available. Remember, trade assurance it's the key aspect that we have in Alibaba for do not have any issue. So let's check the results, what Axio just give it to us. So here we have the executive summary, and we have 10 verified suppliers with 5 years experience that Axio is giving to us here. Here we have 5 years established in Alibaba, verified manufacturer, tourists, miniature landmarks. Perfect. So for me, it's everything okay. We can start to talk directly from this platform, from this supplier, and click here on chat, and then we will start to talk about with this factory about what are our needs and the MOQs and everything that we need. So here we have other suppliers. Of course, you can go deeper and check all the details, what Axio did, how was the searching part, the sourcing part as well, the analysis that Axio did also about the report, how is the market, how is the criteria, how is everything that Axio did for us. For example, premium manufacturers, 16 plus years experience. So here we have Dongwan, Jam, plastic and metal products. So you have a briefly introduction about this company that it's amazing because you don't need to go and search. Believe me, for me, I do this sourcing part more than 10 years, and I spend more than 1 week or 2 weeks for analyze one company, guys. One only company takes me a lot of time now. For me and for my for even for my employees. For this like kind of report, it will take us a lot of time. For Axio, it's just a matter of minutes, even seconds, if you can do it well. You just need to write in a good way, write a good prompt. It will be perfect for all of you. So here will be established specialists, 10 to 15 years experience. And here we have three of them. Specialized magnet Other cool thing that you can see here in Axio, it gives you the MOQ. So the minimum order quantity, which is the what will be the budget? You already have the budget, how much I can be competitive or not. So you have the price range, the customization options. If you want something customized, for example, I want to make my own logo on the product, I want to change some aspects in the logo. Here even have one no MOQ, so you don't need even an MOQ. You can buy from one piece. It will be perfect. The trade assurance and quality certification, you won't understand anything about certifications. Felipe, I don't understand how I know about the certifications. Axio is giving to you all the certifications details that you really need to know for what you need, where you're going to sell. It's an ISO, it's an REACH regulation, whatever that you really need. So you have also a geographic coverage and export markets, which are the main markets of this kind of suppliers or key or items. So we have North America, we have Western Europe, Southeast Asia, domestic China also, and which are the customization capabilities. So it's gonna be also better. And we are as well, we have the conclusion. So which are the best options that we can get from Axio from what we just saw. So this is really game changer, guys. As I just said, you just need to start to talk with with those suppliers, and getting the best results possible is just a matter of minutes, even seconds, if you can type a good prompt.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Felipe. I think that was a full end-to-end story about how you can start with the prompt. Again, different from just a regular, really simple search. We just added a few more like key criteria that you have talked about earlier, and then how Axio can follow those instructions, apply them automatically to evaluate different suppliers, and then just give you the top recommendations based on what you need. And then you mentioned one thing I think is really interesting is that it's always an iterative process, right? Like it's okay for you to not know everything from the beginning. Some of them comes from experience, like with expert like you. And the other thing that I would love to add on is, let's say that there are areas that you're not sure about, ask Axio about it, right? So you can work with Axio to refine your prompts. So just like how you have a pro along your side, you can ask Axio about, oh, in this area, what will be a better option? Or maybe what are some additional areas that I'm missing out on? So you can use Axio to help you get to the level of a really good prompt. And then also you just mentioned that this prompt is more of a demonstration in the mid process, and there might usually be a lot more examples or requirements that you will put. So I would love to see if you can give us a sneak peek of maybe what would a more typical complex level of prompt that you might typically use for your client, so our listeners can get a sense of maybe what they should aim for along this process that really get them to the right answers.
Sure, sure, sure. Let me share my screen with you, and you will see a little bit more deeper and more advanced prompt that I we usually use here in Kuwait. So basically, guys, we focus on the product, as I just say. If you don't know the product, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for you. So if you don't know anything about your product, the key aspect or the key thing that we need to have in mind is go and have knowledge about what you're buying or what do you want to search or source in China. So in this case, we have a find a local verified manufacturer in China specialized in premium. It's not a normal pet travel accessories, it's premium pet travel accessories, specified console mounted car seat for small dogs. So we have, if you see, it's the same as marketing. So in marketing, when you go abroad, you can find a lot of aspects, a lot of items, but you need to go deeper, filter as much as you can your avatar. Yeah. So in this case, it will be the same. You need to filter as much as you can your product, so it will be more specified, and you will find the right product for yourself. Okay. So here we have those car seats for small dogs that are below 15. They're not below 15. We have the factory must produce OEM or ODM products matching the following specifications. So we have the dimensions of the product. For example, this is in centimeters. So we have 17 like 0.5. We have 9.5 and 9.5 that are the size in the interior. So we have interior and exterior. So we only need to have that in mind. The materials. The exterior is Oxford 600D, so they are for water resistance, right? In nylon, that it's the material. The interior will be in Sherpa or Fox lamb wool, filing high density or memory foam. That will be also, you see, those are the key aspects. Those are not a normal prompt that we use because we already know which are the materials that we need for this kind of product. The structure, how will be the structure? It will be foldable inner frame. It can be in plastic or in material rods. It cannot be non-slip based, so it cannot be a slippery. Double safety belts, interior harness, side pockets, and ventilation mesh. The design, it need to be modern, like minimalist, visible for stitching, premium details that can be vegan, leather, color. It can be gray, black, and beige. Extra removable cover, machine washable lining, foldable structure, rear zipper, foldable mesh top, strap for car console mounting, and it needs to be in a bundle. So it's not a simple item. It needs to be more items. So the carrying bag, the mini link roller, the mini wiper pack, the certifications. So as I just mentioned before, you need to know if it has some certification. So we prefer ISO, that it's a really high quality certification. Not all the Chinese companies have ISO 9001, that is this quality certification. So it's gonna be a little bit better when you work, even when you can filter, you can find it in Axio. In Axio give you like, hey, any certification? When you put ISO, it will be better for you for the best or the best quality factory that you can find. The packaging, so individual English manuals, the QC, the quality control reports before shipment also need to be done. The customer logo, so you need to have the OEM or ODM. It depends on the factory as well, and the target industrial clusters. This is the area, as I just mentioned before. What are the best areas that can produce this kind of product in China? So I know that Dongguan, Hangzhou, Ningbo, Yiwu, and Guangzhou, they are the best places for find those kind of factories with this kind of product. The same. Look that we are putting the same that we did in the last prompt. Factories with 5+ years on Alibaba, verified, trade assurance, manufacturers, type only, and provide 5 to 10 factories options with MOQ, lead time certifications, response rate, and QC capabilities. The same that we did with the SOP pack, right? So basically, that's a prompt that we usually work with us here in Kuaizi, and I suggest you guys to just copy paste and change what you really guys need for make a good sourcing for you.
Yeah. Well, wow. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I definitely think that this is more comprehensive than any other prompt I have used on Axio. And I think it's really helpful to see how you structured them across key areas. And some of them can be so detailed, which is awesome, right? Because the more detailed you are, the more likely that you are going to get the right recommendation from Axio. So as you mentioned, we recommend our all of our listeners to follow a similar template, fill in as much as you can. And then for areas where you're not sure about, then either you can do your research on your own or use Axio to help you find those right answers. And eventually we can all be like Felipe, where we can source like a pro by creating our prompts in a way that really helps us fast track to the right qualified options earlier in the process. And I know that time is money, in the sense that sometimes it can get really overwhelming or frustrating when we're not finding the right options or we're wasting time on the wrong options. So hopefully this episode of the Axio Playbook can be helpful for all of us to learn from Felipe on how we can continue to refine the prompts and clarify our needs. And then eventually the goal would be to get to our right options so you can then bring your product ideas into reality. Well, thank you so much, Felipe, for your time, for your knowledge, and for sharing those examples. And hopefully, we wish all the best to our listeners in finding their right suppliers and products.
Thank you guys you for having me, and I hope you guys have like some fun here also today, and of course like help you all you guys out for make a good prompt using Axio and do a really good search and sourcing part.